Hi, this is John Linneball from John Linneball Tutoring, and this is AP US History Video 3, Contact, Conquest, and Transformations. Spanish and Portuguese Conquest. Portugal and Spain were the first. The first New World explorers were sponsored, that is, hired by Spain and Portugal. Or you could say sponsored in the sense that they paid these explorers. For example, Columbus was Italian, but Queen Isabella of Portugal, of course, paid for him to be able to hire 3 ships and sailors and everything. Explorers spread diseases from the Old World into the New World, which caused epidemics that killed huge numbers of Native Americans. Male explorers married Native women. They were Catholic, so remember God, gold, and glory. And the Catholic Church was very big on if you want to play, you got to pay, you got to get married. And there's a car going by there. Anyway. So the male explorers married Native women, they were Catholic, God, gold, glory, and that created a racially mixed society from intermarriage or interbreeding. Hey, not everybody got married just because they wanted to play around a little bit. And between natives, African slaves, and Europeans. Portugal sought a new trade route. Prince Henry the Navigator encouraged Portugal to seek a new trade route to Asia that would circumvent the Italian city-states that controlled trade along the Mediterranean. So you can see, here's the Mediterranean Sea, here's Italy, so the Italian city-states like Florence, etc. were around here. So if you wanted to go over land or through the Mediterranean, chances are you had to deal with them. And, of course, when you have any city or state or any kind of government or even a private company that can make it more expensive to do things because they can add on, in quotes, a tax or a fee for their, in quotes, services, they will. So they wanted to say, okay, let's just eliminate the middleman or middle person and try to go around. So the first way that they did it is they would sail around the coast of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope, which is here, the southernmost part of Africa, and cross the Indian Ocean to get to India and China. Bartholomew Dias, I hope I pronounced that right, sailed around the Cape of Good Hope in 1488, and Vasco da Gama reached India that way by 1498. So here we go to Goa. Hey, go to Goa, ha ha ha. Anyway, the route's a really long route. There was a strong incentive to find another way to get to Asia by sea, which of course was Christopher Columbus's proposed route, which is go this way, around the other way, and boom, you'd land somewhere at Macau, or maybe you'd go around China, etc., and go to this side of India. The Spanish sought another trade route, as I just mentioned. Christopher Columbus convinced the Spanish that the globe was smaller than cartographers, that's a fancy word for map makers, thought it was, so heading west around the globe to reach China and India was a good idea. Educated people at the time generally believed the earth was round. The Niña Pinta and Santa Maria set sail in 1492. That's the background picture here. It's supposed to be a representation of the Niña Pinta and Santa Maria. Obviously, they didn't have pictures back then, or they didn't have photographs, so they couldn't have taken a photograph, and I don't think this is a painting. But anyway, 6 weeks later, they landed at a Caribbean island Columbus dubbed San Salvador. Columbus believed he'd reached the East Indies, so he called the Taino natives Indians, and the name stuck. Columbus traveled to the New World 2 more times without completely realizing that he had discovered a completely different continent. Other explorers figured that out. The aims of the Spanish and the Portuguese. Spain managed to dominate the New World after the Treaty of Tordesillas in 1494 between Spain and Portugal. The treaty established a line of longitude in the Atlantic Ocean and South America. Portugal was granted lands to the east of the line, so over this way, including Africa and Brazil, and Spain was given the rest of the Americas. Spain established the settlements throughout South America and Mexico, even going as far north as present-day California and New Mexico, areas adjacent to the Mississippi River and present-day Florida. There's a Cheech and Chong movie where this woman is taking a group of Mexicans through the American West, saying, "You may notice that this may look very much like Mexico. That's because this used to be part of Mexico." Ha ha ha. Anyway, Ponce de Leon reached Florida in 1513, and Spaniards established the first permanent European settlement at St. Augustine, Florida in 1585. Conquistadores defeat native peoples. Not long, really less than a generation after Columbus's first journey to the New World, Spanish conquistadores took over much of Central and South America, defeating the natives. This greatly changed the political, economic, and social structures of these areas and devastated the local population. As you can see from these pictures, we've got armored knights basically on horses with armor on them, attacking natives who don't have armor or, particularly good swords or horses for that matter. So not really a fair fight. But anyway, Spain extended its dominance over the Americas through brutal warfare against the natives. Particularly brutal was the defeat of the Mexica, also known as the Aztecs, by the Spanish by Cortés from 1518 to 1521. You can hear the old Neil Young song, Cortez the Killer, or if you're a fan of the TV show American Horror Story, there's a reason that the hotel is called the Hotel Cortez in American Horror Story Hotel. The Incas were defeated by the Spanish troops led by Francisco Pizarro in 1532. So, same idea. Disease was the decisive factor. So the main cause of the massive death of native peoples was disease brought to the New World by people from the Old World. So here in this picture we see matching smallpox suits for all Indian families after U.S. government sent wagon loads of smallpox and infected blankets to keep our families warm. So it's obviously made by a Native American artist. The British, English, they would do that later, led by Lord Geoffrey Amherst would, or Amherst, I should say, would, he was the first English person to give smallpox blankets to Native Americans. But before that, even unintentionally, just people from the Old World brought the disease-causing organisms, bacteria, viruses, etc. that caused bubonic plague, influenzas, cholera, scarlet fever, and the main killer, smallpox. Roughly 50 to 90% of the natives died from 1500 to 1650. Hispaniola, which is the island where the present-day Dominican Republic and Haiti are located, went from over 1 million in population to about 500 during that time period. So think of I Am Legend, The Stand, things like that, the Omega Man, etc., all those disease movies. That's basically this in real life, where it's, basically this is that in real life. So you literally had something where, a million people, you're talking big city, island that has a population of a big city that goes to island that has population of a small town in the middle of Wisconsin or something like that. Pretty small. Not all death was from disease. Some natives were killed for various reasons, war, enforcing the social structure, etc. If you tried to rebel against the Spanish conquerors, you were probably going to get killed. If you went to war against them, you were going to get killed. If you broke the law, again, you were probably going to get killed. So natives were also enslaved and worked very hard, sometimes to death. Remember, they had racial superiority theories. Natives certainly weren't valued, other than as disposable labor. They weren't really considered to be fully human. Other than, still they were souls that could be rescued for God, and somehow working them to death figured into that equation. Anyway, gold mining was, of course, under threat of death, etc. So if you weren't getting forced a death threat, probably these people would have said, you know what, don't really feel like mining gold for you. Why don't you do it yourself? And they say, okay, but we got to kill you then. So there you go. The Columbian exchange did change the Americas. For example, germs were the most important organisms brought to Americas, but that was mostly unintentional. Was actually a more effective conquest agent than the horses and swords and armor and blah, 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 and cannons, but, germs basically were literally germ warfare unintentionally mostly. Other organisms were more positive, though, such as, horses were reintroduced to North America and South America by the Europeans. They had, sometime in the very far past, tens of thousands of years before, had lived in America, but somehow had gone extinct. Bananas were brought over, sugar, wheat, cattle, goats, chickens, those were all brought from other continents to the Americas. The Spanish use of New World resources. So the first Spanish use of New World labor was called the Encomienda, which is the forced labor of Native Americans. This was used for precious metal mining, so gold, silver, that sort of thing, and plantation agriculture, just growing food and whatever crops that might make fiber, etc., on a plantation. So over time, enslaved Native Americans were replaced by enslaved Africans, and we can see an encomienda might look something like, you're going to have the iglesia, you're going to have the church, the vigilante, you're going to have soldiers watching over it. Viviendas indígenas, so these are living Indians, natives, I should say. Campos de cultivo, fields that they're growing things in, so Okay, you had a lot of things going on here. Cultivation, church, soldiers. Yeah, Puerto, you have a port, okay, and an Aztec temple, that, etc. So, let's move on. Encomienda relating to silver. The Spanish created a system to extract gold and silver from the Americas and ship them to Spain, which became the wealthiest country in Europe. Encomienda system granted tracts of land to Spanish settlers who could do what they wanted to them, including forcing the inhabitants to work for them as long as they sent a share of the profits to the king or queen. This was very much like the European feudal system. I mean, as long as everybody got their cut who was important, you could do whatever you wanted, more or less. There were some reforms that passed later called the Repartimiento, which were made because Bartolomé de las Casas and other critics pointed out the brutality of the system. The Repartimiento did little to improve native lives, but did increase royal control over the plantations and mining operations, whatever. So the royals actually gained more control over what was going on in the Encomienda system as a result of these reforms that were supposed to help the natives but didn't. Okay. Similarities between Spanish and English colonialism. In both systems, colonial governors were given a wide berth, but later the crown increased its direct control. Once they realized how much money was coming through honey products, the royal crown back home in the home country said, I need a bigger cut of this. I'm not letting you have all this. New Spain, it was the Repartimiento. The England, it was called the Dominion of New England, which we will discuss in future videos. So if you like that or you didn't like it, you want to contact me, you can contact me through Facebook, Instagram, email, phone. Facebook, you can reach me at www.facebook.com/Linaball Tutoring. One word, my last name and tutoring. Instagram, instagram.com/John.Linaball.tutoring. Phone, you can call me on my cell phone, 415-623-4251. You can even text me on my cell phone if you want. Email, john@johnlinaball.com. Website, you can go to johnlinaball.com or you can go to johnlinaballtutoring.com. Both take you to the same website. And I have a testpreparation.locals.com website on locals.com. Please feel free to join that. And if you want to send me good old-fashioned snail mail, postal mail, John Linaball Tutoring, 1859 Powell Street, number 109, San Francisco, California, 94133. And did you find this video useful? Please like it and subscribe to my channel. Neither action costs you anything. You'll be alerted about my new videos. You're not going to get spammed to death. That's not how Google does things. Why do I care? Well, it's simple. YouTube, Google, Alphabet, whatever you want to call them, doesn't let me share any ad revenue unless I have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours. That's 240,000 minutes of view time in a year. While many people are watching these, I don't have 4,000 hours of watch time. And I also don't have 1,000 subscribers at this time. I have something like 871, 872, something like that. Anyway, for the same reasons, you are not only welcome but encouraged to share links to this video, put in playlists, etc. And I'm always happy to read and respond to constructive criticism or suggestions for new videos.
I'd appreciate your input.
I do reserve the right to delete comments from and block those who specialize in destructive criticism, the people we call trolls, or things that are off topic, people who are spammers, disturbed people, whatever, just feel the need to get something off their chest and want to use my comment section. Nah, I don't think so. Anyway, on a more positive note, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks. Bye.